I think I've got it. And welcome to Knowledge is Power Podcast Live. Good afternoon or good evening. This is Tony Renfro, your host. And Knowledge is Power Podcast Live is a podcast that is a platform that we share with everybody to share important information on education, Southeast Texas African American communities, well, viable information on health, education, financial, and politics and business. And this evening, my guest is Lloyd Sprott from the Sprott family. Hey, Lloyd, I had a hard time trying to to get a name and title how I was going to do it, but I knew your family pretty well, and I said they're the family of a legacy of excellence. How about that? But anyway, uh, and I grew up as a kid knowing nothing but the hospital, because that was one of the minority African American hospital in the Beaumont, Texas, and it was so good that you contact me and reached out to me on this affair. And I just like the audience to know all about your family, those that's the generation or two behind us that don't know anything about the family. So I'm glad you reached out to me so we can kind of let everybody know what the Sprott family, the legacy of the Sprott family, and the three doctors and the brothers and the family and everybody that was a part of the growing for in a Black African American community here in Beaumont, Texas.
Okay, well, first of all, Tony, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. And it's interesting that you said part of your podcast centers on health, education, and things of that nature. And that's kind of what our family is kind of known for. Okay.
Right.
Um, we have my grandfather, Ed, and his wife, Myrtle, had 9 children. And my father was the last boy born. And then there's Myrtle that came after him. But he was born in 1922. So that gives you some type of perspective as to uh, the era that we're talking.
Mm-hmm.
So if we take 22, he graduated from Charlton Pollard in about 1940. All right. So what happens? All of these children, 5 boys and 4 girls, all received college degrees. Okay. And back in that day and age, that's pretty phenomenal. Okay.
Right.
And the thing is, we were of meager means. Okay, my grandfather was a postman, and his wife was a homemaker. Taking care of 9 kids, but all 9 kids got a degree. Uh, 4 of them, or 5 of them, got uh, higher degrees. There were 3 physicians. My uncle James was a professor at TSU, and he got a PhD from Boston University. And he actually went to school with Martin Luther King. And another one of the daughters had a master's, but that's pretty phenomenal in and of itself.
Right.
Okay.
In that time of day.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Hey,
So
I not to cut you off, but I found a clip. A clip was sent to me about the family. And if you don't mind, everyone, let me share this family. Let me show you this history. It was during the Black History month, a year or two ago, and someone's sent it to me, forwarded it to me, and I just want to share, especially for those who uh, did not know that we had this how it all started here in Beaumont, Texas. Let me just show this clip here. How about that?
all right.
Wait a minute. Is it on? I'm trying to find it. Let's get here. Come on. There we go. Well, I'm not gonna be able to show it. What happened to it? Well, I'll come back to it.
Okay.
I'll come back to it. I can't find it. But what were we saying? Now, you may continue. Go ahead.
All right. So basically, what happened was back in the 1940s, my uncle Ed, he's the oldest son. He was the first one to receive a his doctor's degree, his
Hmm.
MD, and he came to Beaumont, and black people weren't allowed to use the hospital facilities here in the city. Uh, Back in the 40s, if you needed health care, it was very, the physician didn't want to care for you, first of all. Okay. So there was a definite need. At one point, Hotel Dew was open,
Hmm.
and then they opened up Martin de Porres for the black people. Okay, back out in the South End, and they had limited beds. And the bottom line is, black physicians could not practice at the white hospitals. Baptist was the only one there at the time, in um, Hotel Dew. All right, St. Elizabeth wasn't around yet, and Baptist wasn't around yet. All right,
Right.
so what happened, there were several black physicians here in town. Ed was here. Curtis followed a few years later. But Jake Douglas, Dr. Jake Douglas, he opened up a clinic out in the Pear Orchard off of Goliad. And then Dr. Wallace, he had a facility over near downtown off of
Trinity.
in the
Yeah,
yeah,
off of Trinity Street. Yes.
exactly. And that the thing is that that particular area where Dr. Wallace's hospital or clinic was, that was a thriving black business zone. Okay, and
Right.
in 1940, I think it was 43, um, when they had the riot, they burned a lot of the black businesses out. Okay, and but that the Wallace Hospital was able to survive. But yeah, we had some real race problems down here back then. Okay, but the hospital was built in 1943 or 45. Okay, and in fact, guess when they broke ground? Juneteenth. How about that?
Wow. Wow.
How about that? They broke ground on Juneteenth, 1945. But the bottom line is, it was the only facility in the area that allowed, or not allowed, but had the capacity to do surgeries, minor surgeries, all type of deliveries. We actually had a lab. They could do labs. They could take X-rays. They had X-rays machines, and they developed the X-rays back then. You know, you actually had to go through a process to develop them, not like it is today. So we had a dark room for developing the X-rays. We had a lab for doing minor tests and things of that nature. They had a surgery room. Okay, my
Hmm.
father was a board certified surgeon. Okay,
Hmm.
but uh, because there was segregation, he was not allowed to practice surgery. And an interesting story that a white physician told me several years back is that they often would call my father in to do surgery after they had put the patient to sleep, because the patient didn't want to, because he was really good at
As a surgeon.
at the
Yes.
procedures. Exactly. So and some of the doctors recognized this, and they would call him in, and once the patient was asleep, he'd come in, do the procedure, tie him up, and then he'd get out before the patient was awake. And they call that ghost doctors. Okay, so
Right.
I thought that was pretty interesting. But anyway, getting back to the hospital, um, they had uh, 15 beds. They had a ward. They had 5 or 6 private rooms. Okay,
Mhm.
and five or six private and semi-private rooms, and then they had a ward where they had, you could have. I think it had like 12 beds back there in the bed in the back. But the bottom line is, it was right there at 2390 Cartwright. They had a kitchen. They had, lady on staff that was cooking and what have you. And then we did that. And also another interesting thing is back in the early 50s, they opened up, well, when Heber was there, they started training LVNs and nurses at Hebert. You know, they would had education classes for nurses, and they would get their training at the hospital. We had a working relationship with them. Dr. Curtis was responsible for helping them because he was the physician for South Park's colored schools, as they were called back then. And he was instrumental in getting that program started, along with Geraldine Randolph, who was Alvin Randolph, the insurance gentleman. Do you
Right,
remember that?
right,
Yeah,
right,
yeah,
right.
his wife. So she was instrumental in helping move that along. So we had an educational process going on even back then alongside the hospital. Okay.
She was a nurse as well, wasn't she?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. She
Right,
was a
right,
registered nurse.
right,
Absolutely, a
right,
registered
right,
nurse. Yeah,
right,
yeah, yeah.
right.
And there were several black registered nurses. In fact, Fayetta Donovan,
Mm-hmm.
she was a registered nurse, if I'm not mistaken, and
Mm-hmm.
she was really, really one of the right hand men, so to speak, at the hospital for years and years and years. Yeah.
So we're talking about in 1942.
Right.
Right, right. So how did you how did your uncle, who was the first doctor, and his name was Ed, correct?
Right. Right.
Right, right. How did he get along? How did he get along? Did his family give him a loan to start the hospital, or did he go
Oh
to?
no, no. I think it took $25,000. He went to the bank, and the interesting story. When he went to the bank, he had for $25,000 was it $25,000
That's a lot of
$900, I
money.
think.
That was a
Yeah,
lot of money.
yeah. Back then, absolutely. And when he went to the bankers,
Mm-hmm.
they said, "What am I going to do with an inward hospital if it fails?" Well,
Right,
and he told me, "So it's not going to fail." Okay, so
right.
they loaned him the money, and C.L. Sherman, Sonny Sherman, lumber company.
Yes, yes.
He was instrumental in helping Uncle Ed get that taken care of because he gave him a line of credit back then.
Right.
And things were not that great back here. Okay, things were not that great. The Klan had a very strong presence here, and it was just the way of the world back then.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But C.L. Sherman, we always did business with them because of the fact that he was so instrumental in helping Ed get the hospital up and moving.
Wow. And then we're talking in the 40s.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Mhm.
sir. Absolutely.
So did your grandfather own the property back in that area
Yeah.
at that time?
Right. 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 Um, they used to live down on Nature Street, back down there by Dr. Wallace's place, back there around that
Right,
area,
right. Round
and
Natures in college, lower
right,
college.
right, right.
Right. Yes.
Exactly. So, and then what happened? St. James United Methodist had a church back there in that same area. Okay,
Right. Okay.
before they built this new one on Houston and Blanchett. But the bottom line is what happened. He bought that was an old dairy farm back then,
Okay.
and if you remember where the homestead is. Uncle
Right.
Ed lived right behind it. Uncle Curtis lived across the street, and the hospital was across the street. So it was a lot of Sprotts back there. Okay,
Okay.
so yeah, so that's where the property is, right
I
across from Uncle Ed's
I
house.
can remember as a kid, I remember as a kid riding back that way. They had horses and cow. I mean, there's a lot of little cattle back there at that time.
Right, 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 right.
Right. I remember
Yeah,
that from the old
yeah,
homestead. I'm
right,
correct.
exactly,
Right.
exactly. On Roberts, Roberts in San
Right.
Antonio.
Right. Right.
Uh-huh.
Now I've got that link that was shared. I found out how to do it.
Okay,
Now let me share that with everyone so we
all
can
righty.
go through this. Let's see if they can remember this ad that would come across one day.
Prominent Black family whose Southeast Texas footprint dates back to the beginning of the 20th century explain why it's more than a family legacy, it's history. Education, excellence, endurance, words synonymous with the Sprott family.
Well, I'd like to think that they served as good role models, inspiring others to achieve whatever their dreams were.
And Sprott Hospital.
It was just a dream, I would think, of building a hospital as an African American back in that day.
Nestled in between homes and railroad tracks on Cartwright Street in Beaumont, an area Dr. Maxie Sprott Jr. and Oliver Sprott Jr. called home and know well.
We had a happy childhood. It was a close-knit four streets.
In the early 1900s, the patriarch, Edward Daniel Sprott Sr., moved the family to Beaumont. All 9 children of Sprott and his wife Myrtle graduating college and becoming high achievers, doctors, lawyers, educators.
Well, the emphasis was on education.
With his community dealing with physical pain and the emotional and psychological pain of segregation in 1940s Beaumont, one of those children, Dr. Ed D. Sprott, had a vision to change the landscape of the medical community. At local hospitals, Blacks were subject to segregated wings and inferior treatment. Black healthcare providers couldn't even get privileges to practice at those hospitals. So he embarked on a journey with his brother, Dr. Curtis B. Sprott, to build a hospital where African Americans could have access to adequate health care, and it didn't come easily.
So he finally got a banker to agree, and the banker said, "What am I going to do with the hospital if it fails?" And he told him, "Don't worry, it's not going to fail." So he was, I guess, impressed with his chutzpah.
Sprott Hospital opened its doors in 1944, not only for underserved patients, but becoming a haven for Black healthcare providers.
Well, the hospital had a profound impact because here you had Black physicians and Black nurses who were taking care of the patients, and they could not get that care anywhere else at that particular time. This was one of the exam rooms here. There was a lab.
Dr. Sprott shows what used to be old operating rooms, nurseries, exam rooms. How do you remember all of this?
I remember walking through this as a kid.
Years after the opening, Dr. Sprott's father joined the team.
Well, he was the one that was surgically trained. So he was the one that actually did the C-sections and did the gallbladders and the surgical procedures.
While Maxie Sr. was practicing medicine, his son, Maxie Jr., was attending Yale, graduating, then moving on to Meharry Medical College. Maxie Jr. also became a doctor, getting a unique father-son experience.
The first few years, I actually operated with him. That's one of the highlights of my life.
With segregation legally coming to an end, the need for this particular hospital dwindled. In 1969, it became a private practice for the elder Dr. Maxie Sprott. And throughout the next few decades, the building switched between different tenants. But in 2006, after learning the building was for sale, Attorney Sprott's father asked him to just drive by.
And as we were riding by, he was starting to tear up a little bit. So I let a couple of days go by, and he asked me to ride back by again. And we rode back, and he's tearing up again.
No doubt, flashbacks of memories for the elder Oliver Sprott. Good times, challenges, triumphs, and legacy came flooding back, not just for him, but for his son, too.
We used to shoot marbles right outside the door back there on San Antonio Street, and it was it really touched me a lot about letting it go or cutting it away from me. So I pulled the trigger and bought the building.
The family business of quality healthcare and excellence cemented in Southeast Texas history.
Are we there? Tony, are we still there?
All right, I'm sorry. I went off. I went off the stage. Okay, but it brings us back to the state of Texas historical marker dedication. This is a purpose for this podcast. So, can you let us know when that date is?
September 27th at 10 o'clock in front of the hospital. Uh, we're going to, and it's going to be about an hour-long program. We've got a few speakers that want to say a few words and acknowledge the significance of the institution. Um, yeah, I was listening to that and I had to laugh at some of the things. It brought back a flood of memories, you know, even shooting marbles outside the hospital there. Uh, yeah, good memories, good memories. Let's see, what else did I want to share with you? So it's going to be September 27th starting at 10 o'clock. And let's see, that's about it as far as that's concerned. I'm really impressed by the number of people that have reached out to us to say that they were going to be in attendance, that this is a significant event for our community, for our city, for our state. Okay. Yeah, so we're very proud and we're very humble that they have taken this honor to be bestowed upon us. So, or the hospital, not us, but the hospital. But yeah, we are quite proud of it. Let's see what else. I don't know. There's so many things, Tony. The legacy that the brothers set forth those many years ago. The many firsts that they accomplished. Ed was president of the the NAACP, and fought for the civil rights. He was instrumental in integrating Lamar University along with Mr. Hebert out there and a couple of others. And I mean, when you look back and you realize how much pain and suffering that our people were doing back then, it really brings us full circle, especially in this climate of political, the political climate that we're in right now. It's very significant that that we're able to celebrate this event.
Right, and if I don't mind asking you, because we're talking in the early 1940s, so I'm sure it started in the late 1930s. How did being an African American family back then in those days? It was really tough. It was really hard. How did you guys? I mean, how did the family sacrifice to get each one of those boys to
Interesting.
college, to go to medical school? I mean, I just I'm puzzled.
Yeah,
I'd like to know
absolutely.
how did that happen?
Okay, each child that finished school was responsible for getting the next one out. Okay, so when Ed finished, he
Okay.
sent money back to get the next one out. Okay,
Okay.
and Mildred, I think, was the oldest daughter. She went to Prairie View. Okay, Mildred, Aunt Lorraine, and Aunt Warrain, they all went to Prairie View. And
Right.
Myrtle, she went to Wiley along with all the boys. All 5 boys went to Wiley. But each child, each sibling was responsible for getting the next one in line through school. And back then, you have to realize it wasn't that expensive like it is now. There wasn't a whole lot of student debt back then. You either had it or you didn't.
Right.
But the boys worked at there was a box factory on 4th Street. Okay. Back in the day, on near Hollywood, where Hollywood Village was. Okay, there was a box factory, and the boys would all work there during the summer, and they tell stories about that. Okay, so each one was responsible. My grandfather wasn't a man of many means, but he did instill some values and principles and morals in us that carried on through the generations. So each one was responsible for getting everybody else, each one through. So that's it.
And you know, a good thing about it, I like about the family, they all put back into the community.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it,
That old adage about to whom much is given, much is required.
right,
I mean, that's kind of how we were taught. You know, we were taught to, you know, we had to serve. We had to do something. We couldn't just, you know, sit on our backsides. We had to go out and work. You know,
right.
we weren't given anything. We had to go work. And I had summer jobs. Heck, I had 3 summer jobs one time. So, you know, I worked at the Ridgewood. You know, I laid carpet with Mr. Valerie. And worked downtown at
Okay.
Dakota's town shop. So yeah, we were hustling, man. We weren't playing around. You know, everybody had to hit it and get it.
Okay, we all had to hit it and get it back in those days.
That's right. That's
Hey,
right. That's right.
the Sprott family legacy of excellence, everyone. My special guest, Lloyd Sprott, has given us some historical moments and memories from his family, the Sprott brothers, and also Oliver's dad was the postman. He followed in the footsteps of his dad, that was supposed.
Exactly. Exactly.
And he raised how many kids? 9 kids on one income. Wow.
Right. Right.
So,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
awesome.
And you know, it's interesting. You know, in the story that you aired, Oliver bought the hospital, and even today, it's being used to service the community. You
Yes.
know, he had an assisted living facility there
Yeah.
that Miss Bean ran for maybe 10, 15 years or so, or 10 years at least. And then after that, before COVID hit, there was another facility that ran there. And but once COVID hit, it kind of had to close shop. And now there's a facility there that's helping young children with learning challenges.
Oh, great.
So once again, we're still all about that, giving
Right.
that back and helping the community, you know?
Great, great.
Right.
Well, Lord, thank you so much. It's been great having you on board with us today. And I want to thank every one of you guys, everyone as listeners are watching, to the dedication of the state of Texas historical marker for the Sprott family at the Sprott Hospital. And that location is 2390 Cartwright Street, right here in Beaumont, Texas. And it's never been nowhere since 1944. Can I say that?
All right. Thank you, Tony. I appreciate it. And I hope to see everybody out there. It's going to be a great day. Great day.
Thank you, everyone. And for joining us on Knowledge is Power Podcast Live, I'm here every Sunday at 7 p.m. And we have another show on Tuesdays at 9 p.m. It's called the, what's the name of the show? Roundtable Talk Show. And I talk about local things that goes on, and also have another new show that's coming on with another host on Friday. So join us here on Knowledge is Power Podcast Live. We're on Facebook Live, on LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, X, and Instagram. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, everyone, for joining us at Knowledge is Power Podcast Live. See you then.
Thank you for watching Knowledge is Power Podcast Live. Be sure to like and subscribe to all Knowledge is Power social media pages.